Two of Caitlin Clark's early makes in the 2026 All-Star Game came from 33 feet and 37 feet. She scored 11 points in the opening 2.5 minutes, then finished with 17. The game gave everyone a clean picture of the problem created by her range. It didn't give coaches much defensive evidence. The Associated Press described an evening with 127 three-point attempts and little resistance. All-Star possessions allow players to create, improvise, and entertain. They aren't built for scouting. Clark's shooting distances still mattered because they showed where a defense has to begin thinking about her. To understand what a serious defense does next, the useful footage came 4 months earlier in Puerto Rico. Clark arrived in San Juan in March for her first tournament with the senior United States national team. She was 24 years old and returning to international competition on a roster that included Paige Baywakers, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese, and Aaliyah Boston. The United States had already qualified for the World Cup. The tournament still gave its new guards 5 games against national teams with established systems and experienced coaches. Italy met the United States on March 14th. Andrea Capobianco had coached Italy's senior women since 2023. The Italian Federation had extended his contract through June of 2027. His team was trying to return to the World Cup after a 32-year absence, and the game placed Clark and Buchers inside a defense prepared for a specific international opponent. Afterward, a reporter asked Capobianco what kind of pressure Clark and Buchers created when they shared the floor. Capobianco answered in Italian. The live translator began with his joke, "You have to be good trying to hypnotize them." The room laughed, and then the answer became more useful. Capobianco said both guards were difficult to defend because they could score in several ways. Italy had tried to take out the ball from their hands. Once they gave it up, his defenders were supposed to stay aggressive away from the ball and prevent the United States from passing it back. The translation was uneven, but the coaching idea was clear. The first defensive action wasn't enough. Forcing Clark to pass can remove the immediate shot. It doesn't remove Clark from the possession. She can relocate, use a screen, or wait while the defense reacts to the advantage created by that first pass. If her defender relaxes and the ball returns, the same problem begins again, except the defense is already moving. Capobianco's plan required 2 connected efforts: pressure Clark while she controlled the ball, then deny her after she released it. That second instruction revealed what the defense saw when she crossed half court. An ordinary possession lets the defense establish itself near the three-point line. Clark's shooting distance changes the timing. A defender who waits too low risks conceding a shot before the offense begins its normal action. Meeting her higher opens more court behind the pressure. The ball can move faster than the recovering defender. Italy created disruption. Clark committed 5 turnovers, her highest total during the 5-game tournament. Looking only at that column, the pressure had reached part of its objective. The rest of her line changed the picture. Clark played 22 minutes and scored 12 points. She made 4 of 5 attempts from the field, including 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. She added 5 assists and finished with a plus-minus of +27. The United States won 93-59. Italy made Clark release the ball. It didn't make the United States inefficient while she was involved. Capobianco acknowledged the limitation himself. Even after taking the ball away and staying aggressive off the ball, there was no guarantee that Clark or Buchers would stop scoring. He never presented Italy's coverage as a finished solution. He described the amount of work required to keep the possession from returning to its starting point. 3 days later, Spain offered a different test. Spain entered the final game in San Juan with its World Cup place already secured. Miguel Méndez was coaching one of the youngest teams at the qualifier, although his players were accustomed to professional basketball. Spain had enough organization to make the United States play a slower, less comfortable game. The final score was 84-70. It was the closest of the United States' 5 games in Puerto Rico. When Mendez was asked how Spain had slowed the Americans, he said his team used a different kind of defense to break the rhythm of the game. Spain wanted to control the tempo rather than accept the pace preferred by the United States. His answer concerned the entire American team, not Clark alone. That distinction matters. Mendez didn't claim he had designed one personal coverage for her, and his words shouldn't be stretched into that claim. The effect on Clark can still be measured. She played 22 minutes, the same amount she had played against Italy. This time she scored 7 points, making 2 of 7 shots and 1 of 5 from 3. Spain reduced her efficiency, prevented the early barrage Italy had allowed, and remained closer than any previous opponent in the tournament. Clark also recorded 7 assists and only 2 turnovers. The scoring line looked controlled. The passing line didn't. Spain's changing defenses forced the United States to process a series of different pictures. American coach Nate Tibbetts said afterward that Spain had played a substantial amount of zone. Instead of following one opponent through the possession, zone defenders protect areas and exchange responsibility as the ball moves. That approach can help against a guard with unusual range. A zone places bodies in driving and passing lanes without assigning one defender to chase Clark everywhere. It also becomes vulnerable when the offense moves the ball before the defense completes its shift. Clark didn't need to beat every defender herself. 7 assists meant 7 made baskets were credited directly to her passes. The official box score doesn't identify which Spanish coverage came before each assist, so it can't prove that everyone defeated the zone. It does establish that Spain's success against her shot didn't remove her from the offense. The United States still scored 84 points. Italy and Spain had produced 2 different versions of an incomplete answer. Italy's pressure generated 5 Clark turnovers, but she barely missed, and the game became a 34-point defeat. Spain lowered her scoring and shooting percentage, yet she finished with as many assists as points while the United States won by 14. Neither coach misunderstood the assignment. Each had chosen which form of damage was more acceptable. Capobianco tried to separate Clark from the ball, then keep that separation intact. Mendez changed the defensive picture and slowed the possession. Italy attacked access. Spain attacked rhythm. The decision begins near half court because Clark doesn't need an offensive action to bring her into shooting range. She can arrive with the ball already in her hands. A defender who extends toward her has to leave the normal shell of the defense. Another defender may move toward the ball to protect against a drive. Someone behind that help starts watching the passing lane. Nothing appears in the box score during this process, but the defense has already changed its shape. Clark can shoot, pass, or continue dribbling until the coverage identifies itself. A shot from 33 feet is the most visible result. The quieter result is a teammate receiving the ball against a defense whose attention has been pulled several feet farther from the basket. That's why Italy's instruction didn't end when Clark passed. Capobianco understood that she could remain dangerous without the ball. If she relocated and received the return pass, Italy's first effort would have purchased only a few seconds. Denying that return creates another problem. A defender staying attached to Clark away from the ball can't provide the same help somewhere else. The offense might never pass back to her. It can use the space created by the denial and finish through a teammate. Basketball language can hide that outcome. A possession may be described as taking Clark out of the play, even though the resources used to deny her created the room used by someone else. She won't receive a point or an assist for every possession shaped this way. The defense still has to account for it. The Puerto Rico tournament provided a wider sample than either game alone. Clark played 5 times between March 11th and March 17th. She averaged 21.2 minutes per game. Her scoring average was 11.6, which ranked 4th at the tournament. She shot 52.9% from the field and 40% from 3. Passing was her leading category. Clark averaged 6.4 assists, the highest figure in the qualifier. She recorded 32 assists in 106 minutes. The International Basketball Federation named her the tournament's most valuable player. Those numbers came from several kinds of games. She opened against Senegal with 17 points and 12 assists in 19 minutes. Puerto Rico held her to 8 points and 2 assists. Italy produced the 5 turnovers. New Zealand received 14 points and 6 assists. Spain suppressed the shot while allowing 7 assists. The results weren't uniform, and that variation is useful. A defense can influence which version of Clark appears in the scoring column. It has had less success controlling whether she influences the possession at all. Calling her a deep shooter can make the solution sound straightforward. Extend the defense, remove the first shot, and make her pass. Capobianco's answer began there and moved straight to the next problem. Keep the ball from coming back. Mendez changed the coverage itself. Spain made Clark shoot 1 of 5 from 3, but the United States could still use her passing against the shifting defense. The 2 approaches also show why one statistic can't settle the argument. Now, 5 turnovers don't erase 4 made shots in 5 attempts. 7 points don't erase 7 assists. A team can win the part of the possession assigned directly to Clark and lose the action created by the attention devoted to her. Neither coach needs to be portrayed as surprised. Both understood the trade. Capobianco described it directly. Mendez accepted that his young team needed several defenses and a controlled tempo to remain competitive with the United States. Their teams were pursuing different objectives as well. Italy was still building toward qualification and measuring itself against the tournament's deepest roster. Spain had already qualified and used the final game to test a younger group. Neither result from March can predict a September rematch without changes in personnel, preparation, and role. The World Cup still gives those games a second life. The 2026 tournament begins in Berlin on September 4th. The United States is in Group D with China, Italy, and Czechia. Italy is scheduled to face the Americans on September 6th. The United States meets Czechia one day later. Italy will arrive with the record of a 34-point loss and a defensive plan that created disruption without control. Capobianco has seen what happens when the ball leaves Clark's hands and returns. He has also seen what happens when the pass never comes back because another American uses the opening. Spain is in a different group, so it won't meet the United States during the opening phase. Its March performance remains the clearer example of a changing defense altering Clark's scoring output without ending her creation. Every projection about Berlin carries one condition. The official World Cup roster tracker currently lists the United States as to be announced. Clark played in the qualifying tournament and won its Most Valuable Player award, but that doesn't place her on the final roster. Availability, selection, and the construction of the American team remain unsettled. If she's selected, Italy won't encounter the same player it first saw in San Juan without any information. Capobianco's staff has the game, the turnovers, the efficient shooting, and its coach's own description of what the coverage required. And the Americans have the same record. They know where Italy wanted the ball to go, how aggressively it intended to deny the return, and which spaces opened when the defense committed to that work. Spain's zone possessions provide another collection of pictures. By September, the scouting will operate in both directions. Clark's all-star shots from 33 and 37 feet made the half-court problem visible. The March games explained why it doesn't end when a coach removes those shots. Italy took away access and watched the efficiency survive. Spain disrupted rhythm and watched the passing survive. Across 5 games, Clark led the tournament in assists and left San Juan with its Most Valuable Player award. The United States roster for Berlin is still listed as to be announced.